welcome to Summit Sessions. My name is Desiree Skelly, and I am one of your school counselors here at Summit High School. I am joined by Miss April Milam.
Hey.
Miss Mia Monroe.
Hey, everybody.
And one of our seniors here named Reagan.
Hi. We wanted to meet together today to have a conversation with one of our seniors about how she can stay motivated and maintain momentum when it feels like that's really hard to do. Because this is a conversation that we will often have with students, and we feel like we just want to talk to the expert. Reagan can help us out today.
I think this time of the year, it's hard for people to stay motivated. The days are shorter. It's cold. It's dreary. Spring break seems like it's so far away. And so I think staying motivated can be a difficult thing to do. So Reagan, what do you think as, someone that's got lots of things going on as a senior? Like, what do you think students tend to struggle with motivation? Like, do you feel like there's times of the year that's harder? What are your thoughts on that from a student perspective?
I think that junior and senior year are the biggest years that I felt super unmotivated, especially junior year. I took a lot of hard classes and I had a bunch of extracurriculars, and I feel like whenever your workload gets to be too much is when I start to feel super unmotivated. But this year, my first semester was pretty busy, and I was starting to feel the senioritis. But yeah.
Yeah, we had lots of conversation with students in first semester who kind of felt like that senioritis was kicking in just a little bit earlier than normal. What do you think are just some of students' causes for lack of motivation?
I think that especially there's a big push to do super well on standardized tests. You have exams coming up, and a lot of seniors especially are worried about being exempt, and you have a big workload. So, yeah, and then a bunch of extracurriculars too. So all that being piled on at once is a lot to make you feel super unmotivated, and you just don't want to do anything.
Yeah, so that kind of brings up something in my mind because we have just registered students for classes. This is a good time to kind of weigh out how much of a workload that you feel like you can handle, and maybe academically you feel like it's a good fit, but you've got tons of extracurricular activities, and those all need to be in balance, because if it gets to be too much, then something's got to give. So.
Yeah, definitely. I think we have that conversation a lot when we talk about scheduling is just a balance, because we know for most students, school's not the only thing that you have going on. Many people work jobs, they have several extracurriculars, and so it's really just kind of making sure that you have well balanced across your academics, and balancing out your academics and personal social lives as well. I think a lot of times for students and adults, I think we all feel a little unmotivated when we get too much on our plates, for sure. I think sometimes we have so much to do that we don't know where to start, and that not knowing where to start can just lead us to not wanting to start at all.
Or we can become anxious, and then we really can't focus on what will help us, what will be the next thing to do, because we feel so overwhelmed. So we see that a lot too.
Yeah, definitely. Reagan, what advice would you give to students that are feeling burned out?
Something that's helped me a bunch is just to break up your workload into just chunks. So focusing on maybe a specific assignment or a specific class, maybe on one day, and then moving on to something else the next, instead of looking at it as like a big picture, like I need to get this whole load of assignments done because I've tried doing that and it doesn't work, and then everything just goes bad. But yeah, I've been trying to just focus on specific classes or specific assignments at one time, and it helps a lot.
Yeah, I like that a lot. I'm a big list maker. I like to write down the most important things that I have to do, and I find satisfaction in checking those things off the list and knowing that that task is complete.
I think a lot of times as well, when we have a lot on our plate or we're starting to feel burnt out, it's remembering to take care of yourselves and take those needed breaks, and then build that motivation back up to get back in it. But allowing yourself that break time and that balance within all the things that you have going on to just stop and do something that maybe you enjoy, or taking a moment to just actually breathe and take care of yourself.
Yeah, and I definitely think when you accomplish something that you've been putting off, reward yourself with, whatever it is that you like to do. For me, I am a big Coke Icy person. So, sometimes if I get a lot done off my to-do list, I might celebrate with a little Coke Icy as a treat.
Something I think about too is some students will see certain assignments as not necessary. And I think keeping the big picture in mind of, what's the purpose of doing this assignment? What's the purpose of making a good grade in this class? What's the purpose of graduating high school? And just keeping their end goal in mind can help them stay motivated to do the little things that's going to lead them and the path towards achieving their goals and their dreams.
Yeah, definitely.
I think something that I found that is important to note, especially when it comes to students not feeling like they can keep going. Something that I found is that motivation is about the why behind our actions. In contrast, discipline is about what you do. So think about motivation as your initial burst of inspiration, and discipline as the thing that keeps you moving towards your goal long after the novelty has faded off. So you're not always going to fill up to what you need to do. And when things get overwhelming, sometimes your feelings may not align. But I think for me, still making that push and disciplining myself to get that activity done, it still makes me feel better. Even if it's something small that I do, it makes me feel proud of myself that I was still able to push through the feelings of not wanting to do it and still being able to do it.
Hey, Reagan, we've discussed several things here today. I'm wondering, could you just give us a word of advice for maybe someone that's earlier on in their high school career and how to push through just whatever comes to mind, how to push through whenever they start to hit a wall and they feel like it's really hard for them to just stay motivated? Something that has already been said today, or that just is kind of at the top of your mind.
I think that's something I struggled with, especially freshman and sophomore year, is just keeping up with everything and studying and putting in the effort. And I regretted not putting more effort into my studies when I hit junior year, when things got really hard. So I think my word of advice for underclassmen would be to just, while things are easier, just build up that work ethic and do your homework and study, even if it's too easy, even if it doesn't really matter right then. You'll thank yourself later on when you're struggling with keeping up with all your assignments.
I love that. I think that's where discipline comes in, because we're not always going to feel motivated, we're not always going to feel motivated to do our homework. We're not going to feel motivated to clean our room. We're not going to feel motivated to go to the gym or whatever it is. We're not always going to feel motivated. That's why we have to be disciplined. Yeah.
Wow. So many great things shared today.
Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome.
Thanks for joining us, Reagan.
Thank you.